Good morning, it's the Weekender. And of course, based on some recent developments, it's come to our attention that we have to greet you in the traditional Cockney fashion. So, Stu, over to you, mate.
I believe this is obviously received pronunciation. I believe it is oi oi Savaloy.
Oi oi, Savaloy.
There you go.
Fair enough. I'm not doing it.
Would you Adam and Eve it? Because apparently we're all Cockney.
No, apparently some of us are Cockney w***ers, I believe.
Oh, right.
I've had to beat
Excellent.
that. We're not testing
That's
the
good.
show,
We've
and we're off
got
to the
things
start.
up and running. Anyway, you have switched on. It's Saturday morning. It's, of course, time for the Weekender. I'm joined by the magnificent Stu. I'm joined by
Freudian slip.
Chris from Mophidius, the creators of Achtung, Cthulhu, which by the end of this episode you're going to know a whole lot about. And of course, I'm joined by Ming the Characterless. Yes, this show is brought to you by the letter C.
It's just going downhill, guys. He can't get away from this.
You love it.
True,
Anyway.
true. Enough that someone actually photoshopped it.
Yes, we got an amazing Photoshop
Trevor Campbell Lowe, God bless him.
Yeah.
of Justin
Yeah.
as Ming the Merciless.
Yes, but you caught it perfectly because you have one head in your hand, he's looking confused, and I'm just grinning at you for some reason.
It's because you always grin at me. You always grin at me. But I still consider you Ming the Charmless.
Anyway,
I'm going to enjoy this episode.
yeah, it should be good fun.
Anyway, to kick off, first up, let's get some really important stuff out of the way. International Tabletop Day. Stu.
Yes.
hammer
Right,
us home.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. We got so 30th of March. So what's that now? 2 weeks today?
Yes.
2 weeks.
Two weeks today, yeah. So we've got Tabletop Nation here. We've got an absolute ton of stuff going on. And obviously, apparently the rest of the world's doing something as well for Tabletop Day. The guys at Geek and Sundry are doing loads of cool.
Tons of
Yeah,
stuff.
there'll be live
tons of
hangouts
stuff.
and stuff happening.
Our bit is taking place over here in Essex, and we want you to come down because we're all going to be there, and we want some great Beasts of War people that we can play some games with.
If you are able to make it down, the stuff we've got going on for Tabletop, I'm really excited. I'm glad that I'm going to be there for it. We've got tons of stuff going on. We have got demo games of pretty much every major tabletop game imaginable is being run there. We've got the guys at Estevium Games are going to be coming down there running a load of stuff for us. We've got we've got all manner of stuff. We've got things like Bushido being run. We've got Carnivale. We've got War Machine. We've got Hordes. We've got a Warhammer 40,000 Flyers game. We have Achtung Cthulhu being run as well on the day, which is going to be it's going to be very, very cool. And we'll cover a little bit more detail on that in a moment.
Yep.
We've got a whole bunch of stuff. We've got Resistance, the game, being run on the day. We've got a whole
Spartacus.
Spartacus. We've got a whole bunch of games being run.
I'm thinking if I'm not working that day and we're not throwing out a pile of content onto the web, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to run demo games of Spartacus.
Are you telling me that on that day you will be Ming the Contentless?
Hopefully, because then I get to have fun and play some games, and I don't have to listen to him all day.
Well, no, because in 2 weeks' time he'll be Ming the Effervescent, will he? Or Ming
He'd be Ming the
He's losing it. He's losing it.
Brought to you by the letter E, I think, in 2 weeks' time.
Yes. You will have to wait until then.
He's not that quick enough.
But we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff.
I can't let it slip in this episode, otherwise it ruins the surprise for the next episode.
But Justin is sorely mistaken when he thinks that he's going to have a day off, because we're also doing some live streamed link-ups and things.
Okay.
So I'd imagine that Justin will be worked like Warren Slave once again all day.
Myself or Lloyd.
Yourself and Lloyd. Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But anyway, if we can get a bit of Spartacus going, I'd love to play some Spartacus against you guys as well.
Well,
it's great too.
It was the top game for me last year.
Yeah, loads of stuff.
So
Absolutely
on
loads.
the 30th, if people want to go, there's somewhere they can go to get tickets. All the tickets are free, by the way.
Absolutely free.
Yeah, it's just to give us a head count.
Yeah. Well, it just to be nice to know who's coming. We've got so the link that I'm sure Justin in his techno skills is about to provide on screen for us. Yeah. So you pop along there, just grab a ticket. Or grab multiple tickets if you're bringing a whole bunch of people down. We've got Monkey Business for the kids next door.
Yes, a soft play area.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. There's
bowling alley as well.
Bowling alley down the road.
And the possibility of an evening in the pub with us lot. If you get in touch and let us know who's going to be there, we could maybe get a little run up to one of the locals up here and have a few
Definitely,
pints afterwards.
Loads, and I'll be honest, it's just going to be a day. We were chatting about it earlier. Actually, it's just going to be a day. It's going to be a fun day. If you've ever wanted to come down and try a particular game, I'm confident that not only will you get the opportunity to play that particular game, but there's also going to be 24 other games that maybe you didn't know were amazing. You'll spend the day down here. You'll enjoy yourself, and you'll probably come away with about 3 or 4 new game systems that you've decided you're going to try next.
Yeah, it's going to be a good crack. I went through that whole process a couple of months back, back in January, when I started to creep back into the hobby. And one of the best things I found was just coming in and just playing a bunch of games. I set myself a target of 3 or 4 games in one night and did 3 games, and it was brilliant. And it was games that I had never tried before. I just wanted something different. So I got a bit of X-Wing in, and got some Dystopian Wars in again.
But we're doing X-Wing as well.
Yeah, X-Wing will be there on the day as well. So there's just going to be so much stuff going on. If you fancy coming down, we'd be delighted to have you as well. So it should be good crack.
Oh, Mercs. We're doing Mercs again.
Mercs as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Infinity.
I am especially looking forward to getting a bit of role-playing in, though. So that brings me to our very special guest, where we get to talk a little bit about Achtung, Cthulhu. That's been setting, the world of role-playing on fire a little bit, this one. We're big fans of the whole concept of World War II. We all love that. Chuck in some Cthulhu, and it's...
Could I just say, probably not everybody loved World War II. Probably not people in World War II probably weren't so keen.
Yeah, but they love it now.
Yeah, now it's all cool.
There's nothing quite like Nazi zombies and the race to San Zero.
Yes. And if you, like me, don't understand really what that meant, maybe by the end of this episode we will understand what that meant.
Yeah.
That's if it meant anything, because it's just in the contextless here. So.
Well, if I could slip into something a little more eloquent.
As I just stealthily try and put my phone onto silent.
Hey, cardinal rule broken.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we get into it, though, I will just say, yes, I am still on paternity leave, but I would like to thank everybody who did offer myself and Andrea best wishes for the baby. Andrea and Babby are now home and seem to be doing very well. So we're all very pleased and delighted to have my son home. So I'm still getting used to saying that, and it's quite nice, that. So.
And he's still calling him Warren Jr., is that right?
No, well, yeah, he went through Gladius for a couple of days, but Gladius just didn't stick.
Well, I did see a couple of suggestions on YouTube. I think one was Service Destroyer of Worlds, Slayer of Men.
Yeah, that kind of suits, actually, yeah. That's not bad.
You could call him Beasts, and then it'd be Beasts of Warren.
Oh,
yeah.
Hang on, now I know where the name came from.
I imagine it would. What, you think it's called Beasts of Warren? Is actually its real name?
Yeah.
And we just shorthand it to Beasts of War.
It just
I don't know. The eagle might be there, guys. You tell me.
Beasts of Warren.
Yeah. Anyway, look, a massive, massive thank you to everyone that sent us best wishes. It was very, very much appreciated. So, thanks for that.
That's cool.
Achtung, Cthulhu. Right. Let's get stuck in here, okay? Yeah. Achtung, Cthulhu crept up on us last year, okay? It's got, what, 2 books?
Yeah.
They're part of a sort of like is it a campaign called 0 Point?
That's right.
Do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, so there's the campaign we launched last year called 0 Point has got episode 1 and 2, 3 Kings and Heroes of the Sea that you can buy now. Both standalone adventures that you can play for Call of Cthulhu or Savage Worlds.
So that's the 2. There's 2. Well, there's a number of different role-playing systems suitable for Cthulhu type games, but these are kind of 2. Right. But these are the 2 you support currently, anyway.
So Call of Cthulhu is obviously the darker, more dangerous, classic kind of game of investigation of the mythos, and then Savage Worlds is more kind of pulpy if you want to go in guns blazing, which would be a lot more dangerous than Call of Cthulhu. Savage Worlds, you can use miniatures a lot more easily. You can even have more small skirmish games, and it's
well, that kind of decides that Savage Worlds it is then.
Yeah. Or you just hear minis and go, "That's for me." Off you go.
What can I say? I'm hooked.
There is a reason we call it plastic crack.
So, what's the general kind of background to 0 Point, Doom?
It starts in the Czech Republic in 1939. The Section D, who were the kind of special operations group, intelligence unit of the British, were sent in to investigate some claims of strange goings on in a castle with some Nazis, which often happens. And it unrolls as a sort of typical kind of Cthulhu mythos adventure, and that really sets the scene for the whole storyline. And 0 Point has got a campaign running over about 6 episodes that we're releasing every few months. Yeah. But those first 2 were so successful that we decided to do the Kickstarter to bring forward all the other books that we're going to do as to support the system and the whole kind of storyline.
Well, another thing that I want to announce, because we're going to start talking about where they're going, but we have a competition in this video. So, and if you'd like to enter, what you have to do is obviously watch the whole video, get a feel for this, and then either here on thebeastofwar.com on this post or here on YouTube, you just name a character and describe that character, who that character, what he'd be like in Achtung Cthulhu, as a comment, okay? We will then pick one winner at random from the Beast of War site and YouTube, so we'll get one winner from all of that at random, and you will win both rule books, or both of the current books.
Yeah, the adventures.
The adventures, and a beautiful canvas print.
Yeah, of the cover.
That you can put up on your wall.
Yeah.
We're then also going to pick our favorite 5, and you guys are going to have those outlines written up by the writers of Achtung Cthulhu into actual pre-generated characters.
Yeah.
That we will use on the day, on International Tabletop Day here in TTN, but we'll also upload them onto the website so all you guys can have access as well. So if you fancy playing some Cthulhu on International Tabletop Day, there'll be 5 cool pre-generated characters as well. You guys will each get a PDF of this rulebook. After that, one of those characters is going to be immortalized by becoming an actual character in one of the future books that's in the planned series. So, how cool is that? So get your comments below. To make it count, it has to be a character name, who you want to play, and a bit of a description about who they are.
Yes, so if we randomly pick you and you've just said, give me the books, you ain't getting squat.
Yeah. Yep. Can you give us an example, you guys, of what that might be like, what we might see there?
A character, a kind of a cool character. So you could have, you could go crazy, you could go completely off the wall crazy, or you could go, so you could have a character that's like completely zany and weird and kind of play up the kind of the pulpy. So usually the heroes, if they're like an American GI or something, you might have something like Dirk. Dirk's a good name, like Dirk.
Yeah. Dirksen.
no, but have like some like Dirk Gunderson or something like that. So you give a hint at maybe something else going on in the background there. Dirk Gunderson, and he'd be like a two-fisted pugilist of Uncle Sam or something like that. So you go for something like that, kind of just for your pure pulp, or you could go for something a little bit more mythosy. So like a professor or something.
Yeah, we've got, for example, Professor Richard Deadman, who's on sabbatical in London from Miskatonic University, who's investigating the mythos with some of his British friends.
Yeah.
So, and or it could be something darker, like von Hammerstein, agent of Abwehr, the Third Reich military intelligence, who's actually fighting the Nazis from within.
Oh, I love it.
So,
I love it.
Or you could have a laugh with it and just create Shifty Jones, black marketeer who likes to work with a cricket bat.
See, I like that. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Kickstarter and where everything's going, boy, oh boy, there's a lot of stuff in this Kickstarter.
There is, yeah.
So it all started with the Keeper's Guide, okay, which was, 248 pages?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit about that, and we'll work through all the milestones that have been met so far?
So the Keeper's Guide is the sort of, I guess you could say it's like the Games Master's Handbook. It's a source book for Call of Cthulhu and for Savage Worlds, and it takes you through the whole secret war being fought by the Allies against the Third Reich and Cthulhu's minions to hold back the forces of madness, and to ensure the history books get written as they did. And so that's going to give you all the kind of details of weapons and new rules that you're going to need in conjunction with, say, the Call of Cthulhu or Savage Worlds books. There's going to be histories of the Secret War, strange events, backgrounds and dossiers on the groups like the Black Sun, the Anherb, the Nachtwolf, and another group we've invented. There's going to be secret weapons that really did exist that you actually wouldn't believe because they're so insane, but also lots of new stuff that we've imagined the Nazis might have tried to invent, but also that the Allies were working on as well. And there's bizarre things like there's a gun that shoots around corners, so that they really did make.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, hang on, was this the attachment that was essentially just a bent pipe?
Something like that, yeah. Oops, it doesn't work. So yeah, there's loads of cool stuff. New skills and professions and gear, new sort of background, plot generators, loads of plot ideas, a bit of a sort of breakdown of the history, the key events of the war and the secret war events. So what we do is we take stuff that actually happened. That, I mean, you look at half the stuff that happened in World War II, and there's so many kind of weird, strange hints at what might have been going on behind the scenes. So we extrapolate that. So it's all pretty much based on what might have happened or what was happening, and we just draw out some really cool ideas from that. And we've got a big team that have been working on a plot that goes through all the books, and that Keeper's Guide is your sort of foundation, you know, to build on to create your own adventures.
Cool. After the Keeper's Guide, you then stretched out, and it's the Investigator's Guide now?
Yeah, the Investigator's Guide comes with it. That's kind of the player's book, really. So if you want your players to have a guide, which is all the character generation, how to update a 1920s, 1930s Call of Cthulhu character to be now fighting in the war,
in the 40s.
or investigating in the 40s.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if I had a character that I've been playing in Cthulhu,
Yeah.
you know, set
Exactly,
standard is an investigator in the 30s.
Yeah, you can just
It's
update
him 10 years older.
Absolutely. So
Oh,
you can just
nice.
you can just age him. What might have happened in the meantime? There's a really cool system I'm working on for giving you a bit of a sort of Cthulhu mythos background. So was there this weird box in the attic that, you know, one day you opened and the next thing you knew you were floating in the lake, you know, face down, and you know, was there a weird sword hanging over the?
So little like plot hooks. And
yeah,
things
exactly.
Like that.
The GM can draw on to bring the mythos much more into the game. There's all sorts of new there's unit descriptions, so all the big, most obvious units that you can join. And what you've got to remember is that the average soldier wasn't just this sort of 18-year-old with a load of army skills. It was often a professor or a banker or a, you know, any types of normal character who then has been given a load of army skills. So we've also got the ability to create your character and then find out what happens when they get drafted. What skills do they then get on top?
Yeah.
So you could have like you could have here we go, Simon Edgeware, gentleman adventurer, which you could have had earlier, and then in Achtung, Cthulhu becomes Simon Edgeware, gentleman commando.
Yeah, exactly.
Gentleman commando. If that isn't an archetype.
So and there's all the basic equipment you need, and you know, there's what happens if you join the, you know, various special forces, what extra skills, bit of a background on that, ideas on where you came from in the war, and people were coming from all over the place. There were like people fleeing different countries in Europe. There were people being drawn in from like India and, you know, other British Commonwealth countries, you know, people coming over from America to help fight or join the battle before the Americans officially joined. So there's, and of course you could just be in America, in, you know, on their home front, and you could still just be playing investigators in a 1940s America, just updated from the 30s. So.
So
it doesn't all have to be on the front lines. You know, you're not fighting Tiger tanks and Shermans all the time.
Unless you want to.
Of course, I mean, you can do that as well. And that's what we've done, is we've created a whole new, very fun system to let you, in Call of Cthulhu or in Savage Worlds, jump into Sherman tanks and take the battle to the Nazis.
So you can actually jump into the tanks and
stuff
like that as well.
Yeah.
Wow, class. Next up then, the next stretch goal was North African Guide.
So we've got the North African Guide, which unlocks essentially it's a bit of a sort of mini keeper's guide, telling you all about the local mythos, legends, and plots.
This is playing in around Egypt. And
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
and the Middle East. So you've got Istanbul, you've got
nice.
Cairo, you've got sort of Libya, Egypt, all of that. So all the local mythos and weirdness, local creatures that are more sort of in theme with that. There's what the Nazis are up to in that area, what other forces are up to, other neutral forces, any special forces. Obviously, like you've got the, like the sort of desert special forces, that come in, and so we open up new skills and professions for players.
Excellent.
So there's a lot more that you can do, and then the Eastern Front basically takes that to the east. What's happening in Belarus and Ukraine, and in behind the scenes in Moscow. What are all the secret plots happening? With the Russians, the Soviets fighting the Germans.
And as you'll have seen, there's some cracking artwork for these as well for the Eastern and North African front. Yeah. So pretty much it's you can be playing this anywhere. It's
So the world is literally your playground in this.
Yeah. Well, the war is happening everywhere. I mean, there was even places like South America, the war wasn't being fought there, but there was intrigue. There was
agents
spies
trying to secure ports and things like that.
Like supplies. A lot of South America was sending supplies to America, but the Nazis were trying to get support there. There's stuff going on all over the world. So what each of these books that deals with different fronts is giving you a slice of, and this isn't a history book on this is how many tanks in the third Panzer. It's like, this is what you don't know. This is what the history books don't tell you. This is the secret war dossiers. So this is a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and it sounds to me you don't need a detailed knowledge of World War II if you've watched a couple of war movies.
that might work against you.
Yeah.
Well, just go out, read Kelly's Heroes.
But if you've grown up watching war movies, you can just jump right into this because it's all about the monsters and
funny enough, there's a bit in the book where it says, here's how to take a typical movie plot and make it Achtung, Cthulhu.
Nice.
I'm sorry, I would love to see Oddball in this.
Just
in this set would be amazing.
Next up then is one that I find very exciting, and it's called Shadows of Atlantis.
Yeah. So
no, we go ahead.
Well, it's a 248-page campaign that we've just unlocked last week, and it deals with the Nazis who were obsessed with Atlantis. And the reason they were obsessed is they wanted to prove that they were perfect and amazing, and that they were linked back to this ancient civilization. But in Shadows of Atlantis, you've got the Nazis hunting the relics of Atlantis.
Yeah.
And there is you've got Black Sun, who are the Nazi kind of sorcerers who are experimenting with ancient powers and spell books and trying to draw on creatures and form alliances with other mythos forces. And then a group splits off from them, saying, no, come on, we're the Third Reich, we're all about driving things forward, technology, we're the best inventors. So they're this force that believe in using technology and advanced technology to win the war. And so they are obsessed with finding the ancient technology of Atlantis. And the Shadows of Atlantis campaign is all about this special group of Nazis hunting across the world, going to all of the major civilizations, because they're convinced that they can find some of these lost fragments of what the Atlanteans had.
Yeah.
But of course, there's a very nasty backstory there, because and the Allies are having to chase them down. They're afraid of what will happen if they find all these fragments. And there's a very cool backstory about what they're going to do with all those bits of ancient technology when they find them. And of course, the mythos is intertwined like it always is, and no one really understands the true horror that's about to be unleashed.
So Atlantis sunk beneath the waves?
Oh no, it's a different Atlantis. The team has been very good. We've been doing a lot of research into where the Nazis thought Atlantis was. A lot of the kind of more northern legends, and so there's
swallowed by ice. I mean, what?
You never know. There's all sorts of ideas, but there's a sense of reality in this, because it's based on actual legends. We've not just made up a load of random stuff. There's a lot of deep research that is based on what other people thought or were thinking at the time. Yeah. So
Cthulhu's real.
So,
After the Shadows of Atlantis, you then have the Assault on the Mountains of Madness.
that's right. So
Now we have almost like a little bit of a storyboard. So as you're talking, we'll bring you up some images here because we have a bit of a storyboard. for
H.P.
this.
Lovecraft wrote this great book called At the Mountains of Madness, which is what actually really turned me on to Cthulhu at the beginning. And it's this brilliant story about a bunch of investigators that go to Antarctica to, drill for minerals and explore. And of course they find an ancient city and everything goes horribly wrong, as it normally does. And in Assault on the Mountains of Madness, the Germans have found out about that original expedition. And they've sent a lot of people and materials. And actually the admiral of the German Navy went on record to say that we built in a far distant place a subterranean Shangri-La for the Führer.
That's real.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, that's
So-
not made up. That's
No,
real.
that really was said.
Yeah.
So, of course, he might have been making things up, so he didn't get hung after the war. But
Yeah.
but what we've done, we've drawn on a lot of ideas, and so the Allies basically discover that the Nazis are infesting Antarctica, so they're racing to get this expedition there, and you're going to be able to go in two ways because not everyone wants to go in guns blazing. So you can go in with the army, full out assault to try and stop them. Or you can go in investigative style, through the environment, trying to survive the terrible, frozen environment of Antarctica, sneak into their base. So you're going to have to go through this massive, icy underground base the Nazis have built. You're going to discover that they've already, they're crawling all over this sort of ancient elder city that's buried under the ice. And there's a much bigger story. It's huge, another 248 pages of adventures. It's going to keep you going for a whole year.
Wow.
And we've taken Lovecraft's Legend of Antarctica and just blown it up times 10 and then stuck a piece of dynamite underneath it. So it's.
What do you need to do to get a year off?
Well,
no, really.
You just had a baby. I think you're safe for a little bit.
You're saying that. My favourite book as a child growing up was called Island on the Top of the World. And it was the story of kind of like a wealthy gentleman's son had went missing in the Arctic or whatever. And he set off on an expedition, him and another guy. And they basically just had sleds that they walked themselves across. They got a hot air balloon or some kind of transport to there, and then sleds. And they run out of food and they had to eat the caribou and stuff like that. It was the most amazing thing. And then later on they found this kind of lost civilization, and there was talk about ambergris from the throat of whales, and the son was there in this lost civilization with a girl that he'd fell in love with, and then they all tried to escape from that civilization. But anyway, the whole prospect of this, because you're talking about, you can either go in the army or you can go in the other way. I can just see, setting off two guys, dogs, sleds, or even just walking on sleds, trying to beat the elements, and that's even before you actually start to get into the real mythos of the whole thing.
Well, I think for a gentleman commando, though, that probably wouldn't be as much of a challenge as you'd think. All that
right, chaps,
training.
suit up.
Yeah. Here we go, boys.
Can you imagine walking across on the ice? Shadows of things underneath the ice and stuff like that.
Or you see yourself trapped under the ice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
your own bloated corpse.
Lovecraft, there's all sorts of references to, this where all these ruins are much bigger, and there's like caverns and tunnels and creatures that are coming alive. And so, of course, 20 years later, what else has come alive whilst the Nazis have been exploring? What have they triggered? What have they found? So we've really blown it up, and it's going to be
if you can hear a slight sawing noise in the background, that's just how we get rid of the bodies. No, it's the bar, and if you're a backstager, if you join us on XLBS and Backstage, we're going to get you an update on the bar that we're building downstairs. So. The Assault on the Mountains of Madness is where we're kind of at today, but there's also, you're going to be doing some miniatures and things as well?
By the time, when as people are watching this, it's probably been unlocked now. I think we were, on the final stretch. And there's 6 allied investigators, which we've shown us. There's the Professor Richard Deadman is holding a Migo's head, a bit like Perseus and the Medusa, reading from his mythos tomb, desperately trying to hold something back. And we've got a Sergeant Brandon Carter, who's kind of US infantry sergeant, who's got this massive kind of mythos killing gun that's been invented by the Boffins, but he's got this tentacle kind of writhing up his back. And we've got there's a French secret agent, French resistance girl who's bonded with some weird slug-like thing that just loves eating Nazi souls, and she's hunting down German officers in France, and there's more of them that we're developing. There's a whole set of 6 that people will be able to buy from this weekend that will be unlocked.
And if we all get together as a community and get you guys to £1 million, you'll do me a miniature of Justin with a tentacle coming out of yes?
We could.
No, 1,000 times no.
Coming out.
I thought we were. I thought we were safe. No. I thought we were safe. We can even chatting about something dark and mystery like
3 optional tentacles.
Yes.
I thought I was safe whenever they're talking about Cthulhu. I really thought I was safe. I should have known it's Cthulhu.
What's next? The next stretch goes Pacific, isn't it? Or something like that?
Yeah, the Pacific front. So we're basically doing the same thing with the Pacific, island hopping adventures. What were the Japanese up to with their sort of secret mythos operations? Were they working with the Germans? We've got some fiction that's going to be part of that. All the sort of American forces in the Pacific, the American sort of Pacific-facing home front, what was going on there. So it's a full Pacific guide to the Secret War.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that just kind of wraps up. It's like a whole, beach.
Yes, that's most
beachfront
of the theatre's
mythos.
all done.
Yeah.
Is there any further plans for miniatures and things like that, of where you're hoping to get to?
So the next stages include some creatures, and you should be able to see a very rough Migo miniature we've been working on that's being finished off at the moment. And we've got some deep ones, which I think people are going to like because they're a totally different style. They're not the kind of squat, sort of fat little deep ones, but very lithe and dangerous.
And these are all in scale, you were saying?
Yeah.
That's
so we've got
cool.
some very cool. We've got a Migo with a Nazi body stapled to the front. It's going to be great fun.
If you're a giant space insect.
Yeah.
Nazi corpse stapled to you. Yeah, it's fine.
You can't see me, can you? So and then we've got and then some Nazi villains.
Oh, nice.
Real arch villains that we're working on as well. And again, not just like a German officer, but like real badass enemies.
A piece of exclusive news.
Yes.
Tiles.
Yes.
Tell us about these.
So of course, if you've got all these amazing miniatures, you need something to play them on, don't you? So we have got the amazing Henning Ludvigsson, who, if you like the game Mansions of Madness, if you like the game Descent 2nd Edition, if you've played Battle of Westeros, he did the Mutant Chronicles collectible miniatures game Maps. He's basically one of the most awesome tile and map designers in the industry. So he's going to be doing a range of very, very cool miniature tiles for us, geomorphic tiles, and they're basically icy concrete Nazi base interiors and elder city ruins, underground ruins, and that's just where it starts. And if we get further and further, we're going to unlock more and more stuff. But it's all set in Assault on the Mountains of Madness, so you can see where we're going. Is that you're going to have this whole load of cool stuff that you can recreate the Assault on the Mountains of Madness. Of course, the underground base you can use with any setting as well. The ruins you could use anywhere, but it's all styled around that sort of Antarctic setting. So
well, guys, stay tuned. We will be watching this with interest. I just can't wait. I want to see you bust through all of this and just see if there's anything more you can come out with.
I'm going to be working on some more quick ideas.
It's going to cost me a fortune, but I might have to.
I'll just wait for you to buy it and then you can DM again.
Yeah, no, I love the whole prospect of it. To recap, guys, if you're interested in this, you will probably want to be a Backstager because we have a few special kind of deals and things like that, and giveaways and freebies that we're going to be doing. We'll discuss them in Backstage in XLBS, but they'll be available for Backstagers. Also, you can play the game. Come down on Tabletop Day and get to play with the team from Mephidius, and probably some of us as well as we get into this. We should have a bar ready by then as well.
We will have a bar ready. Yeah, we'll have hot dogs, we'll have chicken wraps, which, I mean, you've had a hot dog, haven't you?
I sampled both today. The hot dogs, the new hot food, or the beginnings of the hot food arrived today. And it was delicious. I had a delicious hot dog, and the chicken wraps are brilliant. The chicken was
sweet chili, did
delicious.
You have?
I did. Loads of sweet chili on it. So it's the food was good, Stu. I'm big thumbs up on that.
Yeah, watch this space. More coming.
And
Warren even tried to slip me a little sausage.
I thought it was an 11 inch.
It was an 11-inch hot dog. So it was. You know,
obviously a little sausage in from what Justin.
Yeah, from what Justin's used to. Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Blue Oyster Bar. All good fun.
So, by all means, if you fancy playing a bit of this, get on down here on Tabletop Day and get a game in.
Geography should be the only reason you don't come down for Tabletop.
Yes.
Yes, if you're living in the States or something.
Yeah, I mean, we're so close airport-wise, and we're not charging you to come in and have an entire day of fun. So whatever you would pay to have an entire day of entertainment,
put that to your travel.
Put that to your travel costs.
Yep.
It's not a problem.
Because you get here, there's a bar where there's food, there's drinks, so you know there's everything.
The room looks amazing. All those tables with games ready to play.
Yep, and then the venue opens from 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're running through to 11, Stu?
11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Possibly later.
No, if we head to the pub afterwards.
Anyway, before we wrap up, the show will continue for Backstagers and XLBS, but before we wrap up, we have a prize to give away, don't we?
Yes, we do. We've been running competitions in pretty much all of our What's in the Box series recently. This time you can win the Toha starter set.
Love the Toha.
And we've picked it out. Warren, you have the name if I remember correctly.
And the winner is Barrett EM30. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Is it christened
man.
with that name? Do you think?
I have no idea if that's your name or what name that is. And to be fair, I'm up to here with picking names and thinking about names at the moment, so I'm not even going to worry about it.
Is that a potential? Is that on the list? Barrett EM30. Is that
Barrett. Magnum PI is another name that I've been running past Andrea to see if she'll.
I assume she has just went, why's the bat?
Well, she didn't like that one. Shaft.
No.
Shaft. It had a nice ring to it, yeah, but no, that's not going. That's not working yet either. So
shut your mouth.
I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask for any suggestions in the comments because remember, on this episode you could win a cool prize, and to win, all you have to do is put a name of a character and a 1 or 2 line description about that character, and who knows, there might be names in there that I can
cool
pick.
enough.
Yeah. So it's there will be a random prize winner selected who'll win the 2 rule books and a beautiful canvas. 5 of the best will be picked and will be written up by the writers into pre-generated characters that we will be using on the day in Tabletop. Of that, one of those will make it into one of these books, I imagine, that are up and coming. And who knows, there might be a name in there for my son as well. So he'll be immortalized in a little one.
With tentacles.
Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. We will shut down now. If you're interested in some freebies, some giveaways, some deals and things like that there, hop on over and join us on XLBS as we talk about a little bit more about Cthulhu, but we've also some other topics and things like that we'd like to cover as well. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching.